Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's one for the boys. Today, this is Shinobu X male listener. I do hope you enjoy. Shinobu was a bit of a quandary. She looked like an absolute sweetheart, but damn, she could tear you apart from the inside out with her ruthless tongue. You'd found that out the hard way, unfortunately. It had been very unfortunate that only being in the Hashira ranks for 3 weeks, you'd been out one night with your mates and got a little bit drunk, and happened to meet her while out and drunk. Buoyed by the liquid courage, you had tried to make a pass at her, only to be rejected, and then on top of that, there had been a meeting at the Demon Slayer headquarters the next day where you would have to face her again while sober. "Oh," she said with a sweet smile as you stepped into the room. "It's you." You had looked at her and then died internally on the spot, your shell of a human taking over and speaking for you. Hey," you replied with a forced smile, hoping she wasn't going to out you in front of all the Hashira. "What's happened?" an angry-looking guy asked as soon as he had seen the interaction. He could tell by the sudden tension in the room that something had happened between you two. "Oh, it's nothing," she said sweetly. "Just rejected him last night," she then added on the end, all eyes in the room switching from her to you. It was a misunderstanding," you tried to say, saving face as best you could. "No misunderstanding," she said with a very sweet look on her face. "You're just trying to save face to ease your embarrassment, but that's okay. It's understandable." You were slowly going from embarrassed to angry at this point. She was now rubbing salt in your open wound, and you didn't like that one bit. "Anyway," you said tensely, your cold look switching from her back to the room, "let's talk about something important, like beheading demons." You glanced at her and then looked away. "Oh, sorry. Maybe those who can't behead demons should leave," you then added, making a jab back at her. She stood up then, and you tensed. Was she about to go you? But she then just kept a neutral look on her face and walked out without saying a word. Once she had left the room, you relaxed. Damn, was this going to be your reality from now on? "There have been reports of demons at the shrine," Gyomei suddenly said, drawing attention to himself to start the meeting. "We need 2 Hashira to investigate." "I'll do it," you offered keenly. "Oh, I'm sorry, Gyomei. I can't," Mitsuri said sadly. "I've got an important meeting on this weekend." "What meeting?" Obanai asked from beside her. "It's a family meeting," she replied happily. "It's not an arrangement to meet a man, is it?" he asked quickly. "Oh, no, not at all," she said with a bright chuckle. "It's my little cousin's birthday, and we're going to have pancakes and honey and all the sweet, delicious things." "Can we please talk about the mission?" Sanemi grunted, getting impatient at the conversation being derailed. "I can't do it either." "Tomioka," Gyomei then asked the silent Hashira at the back of the room. "No," the silent Hashira replied. "Unfortunately, I cannot either," Gyomei said sadly, his eyes pouring tears. "I'll do it on my own," you said confidently, only to earn a scoff from Sanemi. "Ha, you think you're so strong? You'll be dead in 2 seconds. "Yoo-hoo!" a sudden sweet voice sung from beside you, and you jumped violently and whipped your head towards the voice. "I'll join." You stared into the muted eyes of Shinobu and deadpanned. "No," you said flatly. "You don't have a choice," she said with a sweet smile. "When do we start?" she then asked Gyomei. "Tonight," he replied with hands together in prayerful respect. "I'm looking forward to it," she said with another smile at you, before straightening and walking out of the room. "Oh, kill me now," you groaned internally. That night was pitch black. No moon, no nothing. The perfect night for a demon to show up. "Where should we hide?" you asked Shinobu as you walked beside her to the stairs of the shrine. "You can hide over there and I'll go up to the shrine," she said, and you immediately popped a vein on your forehead. "Can you stop being annoying for 1 second? You don't fool anyone with your fake smile. Just say what you want to say and show your emotions," you snapped at her. "Must suck having to try and hide behind that mask all the time. That's why you're so uptight." "I'm not uptight," she said with thinly veiled tense voice. "Yeah, whatever. You're so uptight that if I fed you a lump of coal you'd poop out a diamond," you said, stepping out forwards more and leaving her behind a little. Your comment had surprised her, and she slowed her steps and hung back, reflecting on what you had just said. You were angry. Yeah, you'd thought that she was cute and capable, but man, her attitude was getting to you, and as quickly as you had developed a little crush on her, it had faded, and now you didn't care. "Stuff her," you thought, as you stepped into the shrine room and looked around. Even though it was pitch black inside, you couldn't sense any discomfort in there, and turned to go back outside. "There's nothing there," you commented gruffly to Shinobu as you walked over to her. "Best to stay and see," she said, and you grunted in reply, crossing your arms across your chest. I'm going to sit down, you announced, walking over to a large tree nearby and sitting down to lean back against the trunk to wait. Shinobu too walked over and stood beside you, just standing there in silence. You didn't speak. The less there was conversation between you, the better. It was a good 10 minutes before she spoke, and even then she didn't say much. My sister was killed by a demon. I won't rest until I've killed that demon for its crime, she said. Fair enough, you shrugged. I'm surprised you picked up on my underlying emotions, she said. Not a lot of people can. It's obvious, you said. I can sense it. Well, you're more perceptive than I thought, she replied, and you frowned while looking away. I'm sure that was another dig, you thought. Why does she have to be like this? It went silent again. What's your story? She finally asked you, and you waited a little bit before saying something back, feeling like you at least needed to share something with her. My girlfriend was killed by a demon, you said. We were best friends. Oh, I'm sorry, she finally said softly, and you looked away. Yeah, you grunted. More silence. If we ever find the demon who killed her, I'll let you make the finishing blow, she said, and you looked at her. That was the single most nicest thing that she'd ever said to you. Thank you. If you ever need someone to help you find the demon that killed your sister, you can count on me. I'll help you look for it, you offered sincerely. I appreciate that, she replied with a smile, and this time you felt like it was a much more genuine smile. Just then a cold breeze picked up and ruffled through your Haori and hers. Something's here, you said as you got up, and she looked around. Yes, she said. That was a very cold gust. I'll slow it down. You poison it, you said as you pulled your sword from its sheath. Good, she said with a smile as she followed behind you. Walking up to the shrine again, you stepped in and looked around, sensing the coldest part of the room and heading towards it first. Drawn in by the cold, you headed over to the offering box, keeping your senses sharp as you walked over. Before you could get there, though, Shinobu was suddenly above you, and you heard a demon scream overhead, making you jump back with surprise. Keep your eyes up, Shinobu called, and you jumped back and then slashed, swiping up and then downwards with your first form, Swift Pollen. Your breathing technique was called bee breathing, and had the benefits of being able to impale as well as poison its opponents, utilizing as many elements from the bee world as possible. Your pollen breathing attack aimed to send as much pollen into the lungs of the demon to slow it down as quickly as possible, blocking up its oxygen resources and slowly suffocating it. You had told Shinobu about this attack once, and she'd seemed to have liked it, so as soon as you'd done the technique, you saw a smile on her face and smirked internally. I think that's her favourite move, you thought as you jumped to the side to allow her to make her first move as well, a slashing attack that littered the body of the demon with light paper cut-like swipes, enough to be super painful, but not kill its opponent. Oh, I think that hurt it, you commented out loud to Shinobu as the demon screeched and fell to the floor, and then rolled and got back up and came back at you both. Would be a shame to put it out of its misery just now, right? I agree. We only just got started, Shinobu said with a little giggle. My turn, you said happily, as you engaged the demon again, striking at it and stabbing it straight through the knee. Oops. Sorry, that was terrible aim, you lied, knowing full well that you were keeping away from the demon's neck. Did you want to have a turn? I think you can do better, you said to her, watching as she toyed with the demon and danced around it, striking it with poison here and there, but not enough to kill it. She was definitely nowhere near ready to kill this demon, so you jumped in to aid your help. Oh, we're just not very good at this job, you said with a malicious grin as you stabbed the demon through the other knee. It screamed out again and she smiled at you. Yes, just terrible, she said as she administered more poison into its failing body. The pollen that you had administered in your first attack was dramatically slowing this demon down now, and it was choking and wheezing, stumbling everywhere before falling on its hands and knees before you. Oh, how pitiful, you said with a grin as you raised your sword above it and then slowly lowered it back down to the demon's neck. Slowly and deliberately, you pushed your sword towards the floor, forcing the demon's head and neck down with it, until you had it sandwiched between the floorboards and the tip of your sword. Ah, you said as you slowly put more and more pressure on the hilt of your sword, watching it pierce the neck of the screaming demon. Beautiful, you muttered under your breath. You were so into the execution of this being that you didn't notice Shinobu watching you. It's true that she hadn't been interested in you before, but now, seeing your sadistic side come to the front, she was seeing you in a new light, and as the demon's head was finally removed from its body, she determined that if you did make a move on her again, she wouldn't refuse. Having now completed the mission, you turned to her. Shall we head home? You asked her with a satisfied grin. Sure, she replied, stepping over to you to follow you out of the shrine and off down the path. Heard they've got a good ramen place near here, you said suddenly to her. I'm going to come back here tomorrow when it's open. Reminisce the death of that demon. Man, that was satisfying. I'll join you, Shinobu said as she walked up beside you. That was a very satisfying mission. You looked at her in surprise. Yeah, you said with another grin. I enjoyed that too much. Yeah, she screamed at you, making you jump with fright and wake with start. Your head whipped around your room, trying to work out what was going on. Oh, you said when you finally figured out what was going on. I was dreaming. I knew it was a dream. They went way too well. That mission is for tonight, though. I wonder if it'll go the same as when I dreamed it. That was a little bit cruel of me. It's been a while since I did and it was just a dream type one-shot. Stay tuned for yet another Demon Slayer one-shot next week. I'll see you all then.